You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday, happy Moon Day, and happy Halloween, All Hallows Eve, Samhain. We're going to talk about the history behind this holiday. We've got the dogs going off. I'm curious too, you've probably heard the veil is thinning. Has anybody had anything spooky or supernatural happening in their world? I've had a few things happen over the past 24 hours that I'm like, the veil is definitely thin. Happy Halloween to Katie. I have some photos of Dyan's wedding to share with everybody. All Hallows Eve. Hello, Nick. Candy is ready for trick-or-treaters, says Rachel. And Dyan, a married woman, is joining us. Hello, Dyan. I was going to save the photos until the end, but you know what? I can't save them. So Dyan shared with me a few photos from her wedding, and I would love to share with you all. This is totally the Halloween Samhain vibe. This is what happens when you get married during a Scorpio stellium. So this is the altar her now husband Nate made. Gorgeous, right along the river. And let's see. Here we go. This is beautiful Dyan on her wedding day. Rachel right there with her. This is their tying of the hand ceremony they did. And here is the beautiful bride and groom, I'm guessing with some parents. So yeah, congratulations to Dyan. She shared more photos with me, and I could go on and on about this, but I wanted to share the joy with you all as well, because I know we've all been invested in Dyan's wedding. And today's a great day to take note of who's celebrating a birthday, what babies were born on Halloween. These are probably very highly intuitive people. Rob Schneider is a Halloween baby, which is really interesting. Willow Smith as well. I could see that. I could see Willow Smith having some Halloween vibes. Let's see. Piper Parabo. I think that's how you say her last name. John Candy and Vanilla Ice. Both Halloween babies. Very interesting. Peter Jackson. Dermot Mulroney. Love him. Quite a few notable people born on Halloween. Yes, she's giving the Halloween vibes. I forget what she's in. She's been in a few things. Vanessa Morano, but definitely giving Halloween. So if someone you know is celebrating a birthday today, let us know. They're probably a very magical person. And one more time, just congratulations to Dyan and her now husband, Nate. Yes, I was stalked by a spider, would not leave me alone, but the spiritual meaning was very inspiring. Oh, yes, talking about our spooky encounters. We have a few more in the comments too. But yes, such a special day for Dyan. So elated for her. And I'm so glad you all enjoyed seeing the photos. Oh, and the morning after the wedding, she found a penny on her birdhouse. Oh, that a bird was left by a friend who passed right after I met Nate. He always left pennies to detect spirits. He was with you on your special day. That is really cool. That's really awesome. A few other people have had some spooky encounters. My husband, Mike, had some spooky encounters last night. Interesting. Yeah, we are watching my best friend's dog, and last night she just kept barking at nothing at like 1 a.m, 2 a.m. She kept thinking something was at the door. And I was like, ooh, is something at the door? I don't know. I threw out the Ouija board. The 8 Ouija boards I had a long time ago. Most of the paranormal activity went away. Okay. Yes, he made it for our hand fasting. I've been getting a lot of 22s as well. My angel number for my grandma. She has an Aries stellium, so she gets really extra with the guidance. I love that. Yes, tonight is the night. The veil is thinnest. All Hallows Eve. So let's talk about why we celebrate Halloween, where this comes from, and really the ritual that we all celebrate in one way or another across the globe. I can't talk today, you guys. Globe. It's the spooky spirits. And my spooky encounter, not just with last night, the barking. This morning, I was going to update the forecast and my whole website turned black. Like, not just wouldn't work, like all the colors turned black. Somehow everything got changed to being black. The text, the background, everything. And I was like, okay. Took me a second. I was able to figure out how to fix it, but yeah, it's kind of weird. So of course I was Googling, can spirits mess with technology? Oh, someone on Instagram says, had a random swarm of flies appear in our house yesterday afternoon. They kept coming and then disappeared after the sun went down. Ooh, okay. Another telltale sign of spirits is something with wings, any sort of insects. And this morning there was a mosquito flying around our house. I'm not really sure how it got in. And sorry, this is kind of graphic. I smashed it in midair and blood went splattering everywhere. So definitely feeling the Halloween vibes in our house today. I had to throw on a little costume, a little fortune teller costume for you all too. So I'm curious, before we get into the forecast today, how are you celebrating Halloween? How are you feeling? What are some of your favorite traditions? What are you dressing up as? Let me know so we can all celebrate together. Oh, you did see that. And the fonts were different. Yeah, I am changing up the fonts a little bit this week. But yes, yeah, it was all black. Very, very weird. Very weird. Okay, so let's talk about Halloween. Why do we celebrate Halloween? So as witchy culture becomes more common, you might have heard of the pagan ritual or the pagan celebration of Samhain. And this is where most Halloween, Dia de los Muertos traditions come from. So the Halloween tradition actually originated with the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes. And the whole goal here was to ward off ghosts, because they believed on October 31st into November 1st is when the veil was thinnest, and this was a time when ancestors and spirits would come back and be able to interact with our earthly realms for one night of the year. So Samhain is a Gaelic festival. It marks the end of harvest season and the beginning of winter, or the darker half of the year. So this is really when we are descending into darkness, right on cue with Scorpio season. It's the midpoint between the autumn equinox and winter solstice. So really, you're probably even starting to notice it's getting darker outside. This morning we woke up and we're like, why is it so dark? It just all of a sudden feels like fall, at least here in Sacramento. I'm sure those of you who live to the north have been feeling it for a while. So Samhain is traditionally held on November 1st, but celebrations begin on All Hallows Eve, October 31st, because the Celtic day, fun fact, began and ended at sunset. So this is all according to Wikipedia, history.com. Just FYI, that's where I got all the information. As a journalist, I've got to reveal my sources to you. So the evening before All Hallows Eve, and now what we call Halloween, was a time when, like I said, people would gather around bonfires. It was a very communal time. The moon is in Aquarius today, so we can really tap into that community aspect of Halloween. And then we could get into the weeds of history, but when much of Europe was being Christianized, if you will, A lot of All Saints Day was moved to October 31st from May, and a lot of different traditions kind of merged. But across many cultures, this became a day to honor the dead, to celebrate our ancestors and welcome them in. So now we do trick-or-treating, we do carving of the jack-o'-lanterns, festive gatherings, costumes, things like that. And all of these specific traditions have their own roots that have developed along the way, but pretty much everything stems from Samhain, this pagan festival, this pagan tradition. And some ancient traditions, if you want to go beyond just trick-or-treating today and tap into these ancient practices, you can really delve into some of the things we learn about Dia de los Muertos. If you've watched the movie Coco from Disney, it's a great representation, in my opinion. I'm not Mexican, so I did not grow up celebrating Dia de los Muertos, but as I get into my own spirituality and have now an altar set up in my house with my ancestors, this is a great day, even if you just have photos of your ancestors, to leave them offerings. Something that I've seen some witchy friends of mine do is leave a cup of water to nourish them or quench their thirst after their long journey back to the earthly realms. You can leave some of their favorite foods or treats, even flowers. Marigolds are very big for Dia de los Muertos. So yeah, Mexican tradition is stemming from the same traditions in Europe. Of course, the Spaniards came over to Mexico and brought along their traditions. And it's really cool, in my opinion at least, that all of these traditions culminate from this very ancient practice that has now become global, and we honor in different ways all over the world, but with very similar themes. And we're all descending into the darkness. We're all feeling the depth of Scorpio season as well. Going trick-or-treating with the kids, love that. There's Spider-Man and a unicorn. I will probably be a witch. I love that. That's so fun. I can't wait to have kids because I feel like they really bring the joy of holidays back. Being an adult without kids, I'm like, okay, I'll get a little dressed up, maybe leave some candy out, but it's not quite the same as going around and trick-or-treating. We're just handing out candy. Yeah, that's what we'll be doing too. Love seeing the different costumes. We'll probably watch some Halloween movies. We have a tradition. We always get a jack-o'-lantern pizza from the local Papa Murphy's. I'm like obsessed with their jack-o'-lantern pizzas for Halloween. It's my thing. I love it. It's so generic, but it's just so novel. A pizza with a jack-o'-lantern on it. You know what I mean? It's my nerdy thing I love to do. Gonna hand out candy tonight and my World War II air raid warden helmet. Awesome. We'll be telling people the fallout shelter is at the hospital a couple blocks away, just in case we get nuked. Oh, going full into character mode. That is super fun. Hi, Corby. Happy Halloween. Yes, Coco. We were just talking about Coco and Dia de los Muertos. And I love, too, that it's such a fun way to, introduce kids to this tradition. When I saw that movie, of course, I bawled my eyes out because it's such a beautiful movie. But I was also like, even though I don't have Mexican heritage, my partner does, and I would love to bring this practice back, especially when I have kids, where we set up an altar together and learn about our ancestors and have relationships with them. I think it's just such a beautiful expression of this season. Yeah, I miss trick-or-treating too, Dyan. Yeah. Oh, you should put on your wedding clothes. That would be so fun. And what a fun story to tell. Yeah, we got married 2 days before Halloween, and then we just wore our wedding clothes on Halloween night. That would be so fun. Feeling the thankfulness to the ancestors and those in our lineage for their wisdom and bravery. Yes. I saw a statistic, and I don't know the numbers, but it talked about how many great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents had to exist for us to even be born. And when you go generations and generations back, it's like there's dozens upon dozens upon dozens of people who had to get together and procreate for us to even be here. And that's a really fun way to look at ancestry, even if you don't have close relationships with grandparents or ancestors, just to know a lot of humans had to make babies for you to be here. A lot of people had to go through a lot of hardship for you to have what you have in your life now. So, just being thankful for the generations that came before you, like Corby said, is a beautiful way to celebrate tonight. Such a great movie. If you haven't seen Coco, great Halloween movie. Super fun, great music. Highly, highly recommend it. Okay, that is the extent of how much I'll be talking about Halloween and Samhain because I am not an expert on it, but I always love to tap into the history of the holidays and just bring a little more depth. Mercury's in Scorpio. We got to bring more depth to the Halloween celebrations. But now let's talk about what's going on with the moon. We don't have any major planetary connections today, so we're really just feeling the energy of the moon. The moon is currently in Aquarius, but I want to talk about a couple connections it made overnight, really setting the stage for a fun day, a spooky day. So here's a look at the current chart. I'm going to back up like 12 hours here, and you will see the moon conjunct Pluto. What's more of a spooky transit than the moon conjunct Pluto? This happened at 2 a.m., right when the dog we're watching started freaking out. So, you know, take that as you will. Pluto is this very shadowy, dark energy, fears, mystery, what lies beneath. And with the moon conjunct Pluto, if I'm going to be full witchy right now, and I absolutely am because it's Halloween, it really feels like it was the opening of this portal or taking us down to the depths of ourselves and of the current energy to really be open and aware of the subtleties and of darkness. You know, so much of Halloween is about darkness and fear and facing our fears. And there's something, you know, we almost trivialize fear when it comes to Halloween, but it's also this time where we all just lean into fear, right? And there's this exhilaration and this excitement with fear, with trick-or-treating, with going up to the scary house. I remember being a kid, and when people had scary lights or scary decorations on their house, you would feel your heart start to beat and like, ooh, this one's a scary, you know, it's part of this thinning of the veil. It's kind of scary if spirits are kind of entering our realm. And the moon conjunct Pluto makes us very aware of those fears. So this feels like the thinning of the veil even more. It feels like stepping into transformation with the moon conjunct Pluto, and Samhain is very much that moment of transformation where the leaves are falling and darkness is setting in, and the darkness can be scary. You know, are you afraid of the dark? But we know that the darkness is necessary to all part of the cycle of life, of the seasons. And so the moon conjunct Pluto really sets us into that darkness today and shows us, okay, these are our fears. This is what we're scared of. And today's a day to face them and surrender to them and kind of be with them, be with your fear. Know that there's empowerment in facing your fears. Yeah. And then 8 a.m. this morning. So we started our day with the moon in Capricorn just for a couple hours. 8 a.m. Pacific time, the moon formed a sextile to Jupiter at the anaretic degree at 29 degrees. So remember, Jupiter is at 29 degrees. Great energy for Halloween with Jupiter in Pisces, if I do say so myself, because Jupiter in Pisces is all about fantasy and mysticism. And the 29th degree, I would imagine people are going to have some really fun, over the top, fantastical costumes today. I can't wait to see all the kids in my neighborhood, all my social media pictures lighting up with people in costumes. And you'll all have to let me know. Can you hear the dogs barking in the background? Because they are just on one. They're going off. It's been a party in my house with these dogs all weekend. And I'm curious if you can hear them losing their minds. Anyway, back to Jupiter. Jupiter's at the anaretic degree. Look at him over here, 29 degrees of Pisces. So yeah, definitely this magical over-the-top energy that we're feeling just in general. But we woke up under a sextile between the moon and Jupiter, which gives us that excitement. Maybe you weren't planning on putting a Halloween costume on today, but you decided, we're just going to go with it. We're going to lean into the excitement, the fantasy, the fun of Halloween. And there's this energy of anticipation too, especially with this anaretic degree sextile. Like you might have woken up just really excited about what lies ahead today, a little spontaneous, adventurous. Definitely sets the mood for a festive day. Thank you, Nick. They can be heard, but aren't getting in the way of the broadcast. Honestly, I think the dogs would be so pleased to know that they're being heard. right now. They are just too much. Their best friend has been here and it's been a lot. Yeah, we can hear them. Always good to know from my field producers what makes its way into this room as I'm live streaming. They just want to be, yeah, they're excited too. They're excited too. And you know, this brings us to the Aquarius moon. My best friend's dog, my dog's best friend also, she is an Aquarius. She's a Scorpio with an Aquarius moon. So she's definitely feeling in her energy today, right? I think that might be why she's a little extra hyped today. The moon moved into Aquarius at 8:43 a.m. Pacific time, so just before noon for you East Coasters. And we love an Aquarius moon for Halloween. This is full permission to fly your freak flag high. Like, just let it rip. You know, be as weird as you want to be. The weirder, the better under the Aquarius moon. So not only do I expect to see a lot of fantastical costumes with Jupiter and Pisces, but also some really weird ones. It's easier to march to the beat of our own drum, to express our eccentricities, to just be our authentic weirdo selves when the moon is in Aquarius. We're nurtured also not only by this need to be an individual and to be free and to kind of do our own thing, to express ourselves in our very weird, unique ways, but also to be part of a community. Because remember, Aquarius rules the 11th house, all about our network and community. So we talked about ancient rituals with Samhain when they would gather around a bonfire. It's a time to connect with your community as well. I love that in America we have the ritual of trick-or-treating in our neighborhood, because what better way to connect with your community than go door to door and say hi to the people who live there. Feels very on time for the moon in Aquarius. And this is just a really powerful night to connect with other people, celebrate everybody's uniqueness, celebrate how everyone went all out to decorate their houses and be extra weird. You know, that's very much the vibe of the day with the moon in Aquarius. Now, the moon is going to make two different connections, both of them squares. So there is an energy of tension, I will say, tonight. The moon in Aquarius kind of distances us from our emotions as well. So you might kind of feel like you're having this out-of-body experience, dressing up as someone else, like fully leaning into the energy of someone else. That could be your vibe today. And that's cool. Today's the day to do it, right? At 2 p.m., let me see. Where's our moon? Okay, 2 degrees. At 2 p.m., the moon is going to square Mercury. You can see that there. So we're starting to feel this energy right now. And when the moon squares Mercury, this is a clash between our emotions and our mind, our body and our mind. And remember, Mercury is in Scorpio. So we're really drawn to more intimate conversations, even secretive conversations, talking in hushed tones. That feels very Mercury and Scorpio. But then the moon is in Aquarius and it makes us feel a little more distant. So intellectually, we might want to have more intimate interactions, but emotionally, we might feel like we need to put this wall up and hide behind our costume a little bit. That could be where the clash is coming in for you. And in a simpler sense, this could just manifest as a little bit of anxiety today. That's okay. So if it feels like you're kind of having a battle between your head and your heart, just know that that is par for the course, and try not to project any emotional biases on anyone else or fall into the trap of mood swings. That's possible when the moon is squaring Mercury. Remember, if you're eating a lot of candy today, that could play into the moon squaring Mercury too. Okay, Mercury is very much about our nervous system and our mental state. And when we have sugar rushes, we tend to spike and then fall, right? So yes, we're talking about astrology and our emotions, but that could definitely play into it. Watch out for sugar crashes and mood swings, and it might be best to keep thoughts to yourself. Remember, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, especially today when the moon squares Mercury. We're really going to be feeling this in the afternoon. And then very late tonight, 11 p.m. Pacific time, so overnight, for those of you who live in more Eastern time zones, the moon squares the sun. Tomorrow is the official first quarter moon, but we feel that square between the moon and the sun tonight. And this kind of feels like a moment of action or some anxiety to take action. Now, for those of us who are winding down, again, sugar could definitely play a factor in this. Trying to wind down late at night, but having lots of sugar late at night can keep us up or keep us a little bit restless or make us a little bit cranky, anxious. The moon is squaring the sun as well, adding to that energy. But I have to note, the moon squares the sun at the moment when the veil is thinnest, midnight on Halloween or on November 1st, however you want to classify it. So right as we're coming into the darkest, deepest point of the night, the moon squares the sun when the veil is thinnest. And it feels like this is a moment of action, maybe not from us, maybe from the spiritual realm. Okay, so it feels like this palpable tension. When I'm visualizing it, it's almost like spirits trying to come through the veil. I don't know if you heard that, but now the dogs are trying to get in here as I'm talking about spirits coming through the veil. So, you know, keep an open heart, keep an open mind. The moon in Aquarius can make us a little bit fixed, but the nice thing is we have an open mind. We're open to new experiences. So if you're trying to have a spiritual connection this Halloween, tonight's the night to do it. If you're not, try not to get too anxious about what could happen or what spirits could come through. If you're open to it, you might be surprised by what comes through, what our consciousness, represented by the Scorpio sun, is able to perceive when we're tapped into these deeper energies. If that's not your jam, that's okay too. Just know that you're protected. And actually today, I normally only work with selenite during these live streams. And selenite is a great crystal for being a clear channel, bringing through information, bringing through energy. So this could be something to put on your altar if you're trying to allow spirits to come through. But if you're looking for more protection, obsidian is your friend. And this is a giant piece of obsidian I have actually sitting on our oracle cards for today. Because remember, when the veil is thin, it's not just the energies we want to come through that can come through. It's all energy. So protection is really important. I know we're getting super witchy today, but protection is really important if you are going to be kind of open to the spiritual realms, also using some sort of dark crystal, even wearing black, even saying out loud, this home is protected, saging your house. Protecting your house could be equally as important, especially if you're getting a little witchy tonight. So I recommend obsidian, really any sort of dark onyx, dark stone, or wearing black. Wearing black is very protective. So yeah, that's a very witchy version of the forecast today. Yes. Okay. I love what everybody is saying in the comments. I feel that duality of the head and the heart. That's the energy of the day today, for sure. That is the energy of the day. Just realized we've got some stuff poking into the screen here. Let's see, literally picking up cookies. That's why I was late. Yeah, today is one of those very sugary days. And you know, I have to note, Samhain wasn't really about sugar. And I think candy probably came into the picture. This is totally a guess, because this was the time where we celebrated our harvest, where all the fields are starting to go bare. You know, we're really celebrating everything that has grown and pulling it up from the earth and letting the earth go fallow and die so the soil can regenerate to replant in the spring, right? So all of these energies are linked back to agriculture, the moon phases, the seasons. Of course, that's what really paganism is based off of. But that's why also there's offerings that we leave for our ancestors, because we're celebrating our abundance and sharing it with them too. But I think, you know, modern day capitalism, we're like, candy, abundance, harvest. Let's all give out candy instead of, you know, we don't grab the crops from our backyard and share them with the neighborhood kids. Although I would be super happy if that's the direction Halloween went back into. I already had some M&Ms. Yeah. My kids have their own kids. I'll keep my eyes open at midnight. Yeah, you might have some encounters Tonight's the night. I'm still recuperating. Been so tired. I bet that's a lot. Having a wedding this weekend for sure. Definitely heard them. Yes, going to be open, not so rigid. I will pass on some obsidian to Mike. There you go. Yeah, pass it on. Make sure that he is protected. Many spirits tried to mess with us last night. Like we had a party or something. Woo-hoo-hoo. I told them to wait outside and we were finally able to fall asleep. Told my ancestors and spirit guides to regulate. I'm so grateful you brought this up, Rose. My mother and my grandmother both grew up in haunted houses in Placerville, which is known as Hangtown. It was a big town for hanging people in the Wild West. So lots of spirits there, lots of very old houses. The whole town, in my opinion, is haunted. But they lived in multiple haunted houses. So they have all these incredible ghost stories. And, you know, I always was very much open to ghosts being real because my mom would share these stories with me. And she would always say, like, it's not the dead that will hurt you, which I don't know if that was so reassuring, but also like you can talk to spirits, you know, you can say like, you are not welcome here, or saying things like only love is welcome in this house, only loving energies are welcome here. You can be polite. You can say, we're trying to sleep, please leave, you know, just like Rose did. And then call on your own guides, your own ancestors, or if you don't have a close relationship with your guides or regularly, you know, commune with them, if you will. Tonight's a great night to start welcoming them in, saying, thank you for all the blessings you've brought into my life and the path you paved for me. But also saying like, spirits, guides, my ancestors come in and bring some protection. And that can also help alleviate some fear, because remember, we talked a lot about fear. It's Scorpio season. Fears are coming up. So if you're feeling afraid or like there are energies you don't want around, know that you can protect yourself. You can call on your own protection, even if you don't have crystals. Something I sometimes do when I'm scared is just take some cleansing breaths and imagine my aura being filled with light. Like nothing dark can come into my aura, extending it out to my partner, extending it out to my dogs, saying we're protected here and knowing that my energy can be protection too. So it's trick or treat, right? It's the time when ancestors are getting a little witchy and playing tricks on us. They're coming back. They want us to hear them, just like the dogs want us to hear them today. I was thinking of writing another letter to my grandma, but we'll try to keep that channel protected. Yeah, and you can light a candle, make it ceremonial, put it on an altar, maybe with a picture of her if you have one. Offer some of her favorite candy or some flowers or leaves or something like that, just to show her like I'm offering you and honoring you, and add that letter in. I'm really going to try some different rituals tonight of working with my ancestors. I've never done that on Halloween before, but I think tonight's going to be a beautiful night, and a beautiful night to get a little weird because the moon's in Aquarius, right? Katie says, no candy for me. It messes with my body too much. Hopefully that will help. Yeah. Today is like our last, diet starts tomorrow, you know, it's Halloween. So we're going to go all out and then try to re-regulate tomorrow. We'll see how that works. I'll report back. Haven't used sage. Don't want to kick my grandfather out. He passed on the couch back in 1993. Do have a lot of World War I, World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam stuff in the house I bought at flea markets. And remember, Nick, all of that carries energy too. So it's safe to sage your house. It's safe to protect your house. I don't think any benevolent spirits or ancestors are going to be offended by you cleansing the house. Might be good to cleanse some of these old artifacts. Anytime you bring stuff home from like an antique store or a thrift store, it's really good if something's been previously owned to cleanse the energy, because you don't want to take on the person's energy, the previous owner's energy. Happy Halloween, Rachel. I wrote a thank you note earlier now to do the protection work. Beautiful. One time years ago at 1 a.m. one night, I love all of us telling ghost stories. I had an old Vietnam War era army visor hat fly across my living room. Yeah. And with war relics too, there's probably a lot of trauma and intense stuff that people experienced involving those relics. So if I was you, I would sage the crap out of them, but that's just me. Do what you think is best. Okay, let's move on to our affirmation of the day. I honor the ancestors who came before me. Simple as that. Really leaning into not just the spooky witchiness of Halloween, but also the beautiful rituals that are involved with Samhain, Dia de los Muertos, just all of these cultural celebrations that take Halloween and make it much more meaningful, if you ask me. So today's a beautiful day to honor your ancestors. And we're going to finish up with a different kind of tarot pull with some specialty cards. I've never used these cards. I ordered them months ago. If you're not familiar with Queen Herbie, she's an artist, and she came out with an album last Halloween called Halloween, and she came out with this like novelty set of fortune cards. There's only 7 of them. When I bought them, I thought there were more. So we're going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to have you pick a number between, there's 7, 1 and 7, and then I will read you your fortune based on the number you choose. Okay, so let's all take a deep breath, and as we're exhaling, pick your number 1 through 7. Here we go. Breathe in and release. Okay, here we go. If you chose card number 1, I really feel like a fortune teller right now. Here is your fortune. Abracadabra. Letting go of needing to please others for our card number 1. Your intuition and capabilities are beyond good enough. It's like you have magic in every breath, effortless creativity and freedom. Tell the universe exactly what you want and focus on the feeling of already having it to manifest. There is card number 1. Yes. Okay, beautiful. Card number 2. Love me. These are perfect energies for 1 and 2 already, just numerologically. Number 2, love me. Rising to your full potential can be a lonely path. People will find ways to use you and manipulate outcomes for their own game. Give love anyway. You've already won because the secret's out. You possess the sauce. Lean in and keep going, baby. Number 2, love me. Card number 3, a few of you chose card number 3. Card number 3 is stretch marks. Okay, what does it mean? The obstacle is the way. Card number 3, whatever difficulty you're facing is giving you a fast track upgrade to your best self. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and express how you feel because there's a giant pot of gold on the other side. Ask yourself, how is this an opportunity? What obstacles or opportunities for you? Card number 3ers. Card number 4, violence. Okay, beware of energy vampires sucking your shine if you chose card number 4. People are often in more pain than you think, and they overflow, spilling negative energy onto you, even if they are unaware. Remember to set clear boundaries and sage or incense often. Okay, clear message if you chose number 4. Get out your dark crystals, get out your sage, clear the energy. Clear the energy. Make sure your home, your space is protected from any unwanted energy vampires. Card number 5, obituary. Spelled in a fun way too. Obituary. Say goodbye to your old self because a badder bitch is emerging now. Self-care by bubble bath, extra sleep, or retail therapy. Grieve if needed and buy yourself flowers. Take deep breaths and step into your new power. Okay, card number 5. Card number 6, bats in the belfry. The darkness you feel is your soul. Okay. The darkness you feel is your soul communicating that you deserve better. An adjustment needs to happen. Say thank you to yourself and light a candle. If you chose card number 6, write down what you most desire and one small thing you can do each day to move toward it. There's your message. And I know Nikki chose card number 7, her lucky number. The card is Prada or Nada. Time is irrelevant to you. A timeless icon in the making. Your value increases every day, so much that others become uncomfortable around you. Notice who is in your circle. Are they fanning your flame or pissing on your fire? This is your permission to demand your worth. So fun. That was super fun. I've been wanting to use these cards all year, and I finally got a chance to do it on Halloween. So yeah, I hope your message resonated with you. Maybe we'll do some stuff like that more often too, where I pull 3 cards and you can pick which one is for you. Change it up a little bit. I hope you're all having a beautiful Halloween so far. Oh, I'm glad you liked it, Corby. And I hope you have a fun evening ahead of you. I hope you protect yourself, protect your energy, but stay open to all the magic that can happen when the veil is thin, when we fly our freak flags under the Aquarius moon, when we allow our unique personalities to shine through costumes, through decorations. And I hope we all let our inner child out to play just a little bit today. It is Halloween after all. Even if you don't have anything festive or fun planned, maybe just allow yourself to have a piece of candy or 2, throw on a fun costume, put on a festive movie, and have a beautiful day. Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. Hi, Court. I'll think about the opportunities 3 talked about. Beautiful. I'll look for the sage someone gave me years ago I never used. Nick, today's the day. Sage your house. I'm telling you, your grandpa will stay. Bad energy will go. It's time. It's time, Nick. All right, everybody. I love you all. So grateful for each and every one of you showing up for yourselves today, showing up for this beautiful community that we are creating together. I will see you all right back here tomorrow morning. I won't have my fortune teller outfit on, but you better believe the kids of the neighborhood are getting their fortunes read tonight. Have a beautiful day, and until I see you next, stay curious and happy Halloween. Boo! Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.